Hello, Eric Walczykowski here, CEO of Bespoke Partners and host of Tailored Talent. Today, I'm joined by Alex Bossetta, our HR expert and leader at Bespoke Partners. Alex, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Eric. Excited to be here.
Well, appreciate you joining. We got to take care of business straight away. You have a recent move to New York City. Talk to me about what's going on in the Big Apple.
Yeah, no, it's been an incredible week and a half here in New York, so brand new. But no, it was a really exciting move. I mean, as you know, the team here has grown, I think, 20x in the last 12 months. We went from 0 to, I think, now 22 people in New York, which is super exciting. Myself, along with Lisa Gordon, are the first partners here. And I think the goal is to build out the team, get a beautiful office. And I think it's just really exciting being on literally the same street as, call it 80% of our clients, and just having that accessibility to candidates, clients, and everyone's always passing through New York. So it's been great so far.
Very excited to have you here. New York looks great on you. Let's talk about people and talent. What's going on right now in people and talent hiring trends?
Yeah, it was a really exciting Q1, candidly. I think searches were up 4x in 2025 than they were in 2024 Q1. So I think seeing increased demand across the board within software, which is encouraging and exciting to see that it's kind of back on the strategic docket for the year, and companies really making the investment in finding that strategic, forward-looking people leader. I think in terms of types of searches we've been working on, I think retention is top of mind, continuing to develop talent, and I think just navigating this ever complex world that we're living in of globalization. How do we set up offshoring centers and really do that strategically and mindfully as the business grows over the next few years. And then I think also top of mind for organizations is just cost effectiveness and operationalizing strategies, but doing that in the most effective way to really be mindful of bottom line as well.
No, fantastic. Well, I mean, look, one of the rubs on the people or HR function in general is just this strategic nature or business acumen versus, hey, we're just tactically making sure that people have what they need from a benefit standpoint. Talk to me about that business acumen and how important it is on the scorecard.
Yeah, I would say I don't think I've run a search in the last 12 or 18 months where it hasn't been within the top 3 things needed for the leader coming into the organization. And thinking what we do in private equity is just, how does everything tie back to the investment thesis? What investment are we making now that's really going to pay off in 3, 5, 7 years, whatever it might be, when we're thinking of taking the business to market. So I think any leader who can really connect, okay, what we're doing on the people and talent front, here's how this impacts finance and revenue and product, and really just tying it to the broader business goals and really kind of threading the needle cross functionally. I think those folks are in high demand, and I think it's been a must-have across every search we've worked on.
Absolutely. And I think it's one of these pieces as we think about our strategy to up-level all of talent and the talent function in private equity. That's going to be so critical, and we'll continue to see that. What other traits are you seeing in demand in the people section?
I think on a similar vein is business acumen. I think financial acumen of really being able to go toe to toe with the CFO and the board and push back on numbers and, really defend a point as it relates to, investment in certain areas of the business. So I really think that, business acumen 2.0 and really taking it into, in depth to the financials of the business has been increasingly important, I would say, in the last 6 to 9 months as well.
No, absolutely. And I think about, in private equity, and look, we're private equity owned as well. Everything is ROI driven. And so anytime we put a head count in front of the board, it's so important to know what that head count's going to do for the business and where we go. And when you have that strategic HR leader, strategic people leader, there's such a great advocate in thinking through the holistic strategy there. So I couldn't agree with you more. Now, listen, I've talked to all of your peers about the labor market, and no doubt the labor market is tight because we just don't have that natural churn of deals. How's that impacting compensation in your world?
Yeah, the short answer, it is absolutely impacting compensation. And I think it's really, manifested in conservative on cash and really asking executives to buy into the equity story. I think organizations also feel like maybe they have a bit more buying power than they did a couple of years ago because there are more candidates on the market. Great businesses do have optionality in terms of those who are growing and, a really attractive place for executives to be. And I think to be mindful of, kind of top and bottom line optimization, it's, come in it, be in it with us. I think take the, haircut, if you will, on cash comp for the potential equity upside at the end. So I think we've seen a slight decrease in compensation across the board, especially on base salaries, really anchoring on the bonus and equity potential.
Absolutely. And look, I mean, in this time where there's economic uncertainty and cash is king, I could see people leaning into equity, particularly as you look at the people leader role. What do you think is going to happen for the rest of the year around trends in people?
Yeah, I mean, I hope there continues to be investment in the function. I think, if in what we've heard, the last 12 months, there are organizations who are viewing this as, hey, this is kind of an easier way to save money in the short term of, maybe we don't need a C-level. We're getting away with a VP who, to your point, is keeping the lights on, ensuring people get paid, benefits are set up, things of that nature. But what are the longer term implications of retention, attraction, org design, and really setting the business up for the future, not having someone in the seat who hasn't, had that skill set before necessarily. So,
well, and what's fascinating, look, is a career operator, what I would say in a tough time, it is so important that your people and this development, belonging, and retention aspects of the people strategy is so important. And having that strategic people leader who can make sure they're tending to the flock, because if you think about how tight the labor market is, if you have good people, they're getting calls every day and making sure that people leader is so in tune with your people and they're offering a path around development. Because look, in tough times, one of the things you're seeing is raises or annual raises are not going to be what they are. And so what can you lean into? You can really lean into development and culture. And those two things are huge retention drivers. And that's why I hope you're right, because I think that people think of this as hey, this isn't a must have, this is a nice to have. And I can just tell you as a CEO, it's so important to me that we offer the entire slate, attract, develop, belong, retain, particularly in tough times, because you want to keep your team together to execute on the value creation strategy. So small plug for my belief, but it seems to be working.
Yeah, as you know, I mean, we hear from our candidates that we're recruiting every day, the most important things to them are the people that they're working with day in and day out, the market that they're serving, and, obviously compensation and upside on the back end. But I continue to hear that people remain front and center of why someone would stay or leave an organization. So it's incredibly important.
Fantastic. Well, Alex, thank you so much for joining the show. Very excited to have you here today and also in New York City. I'll be back there soon. Look forward to connecting.
Can't wait. I'm excited. Thanks, Eric.